This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it because time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it.
Welcome to the Respect My Blueprint podcast, and this is your host, your main man, your blueprint mastermind. Of course, this is the show where we highlight the successful blueprint of entrepreneurs across all industries. And I have a very, very inspiring story to share with everyone with my guest here. You know, not many guests come prepared as this gentleman here. As you guys can see, you know, aside from the appearance, clean cut, nice look, dressed to the T and everything like that. But, you know, you can sense, I want to share with everybody, he's also a cancer survivor.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Cancer survivor, yeah, yes. You know. And, you know, he has a very inspiring story he wants to share with everybody. And I'm can't wait to hear his story. But, you know, serial entrepreneur, real estate investor, educator, influencer, and most importantly, impactor, Isaac Grace. How you doing, brother?
I'm feeling good. Thank you to be here. Respect my blueprint. Let's get it.
Let's get it, man. Yep. You know what? I want to start off with the show because, you know, we just had a quick discussion offline and everything like that, and you shared some of the trials and tribulations you endured, right? And I want to start off the show with a quick story that all the viewers probably know that, you know, my story's almost similar to yours.
Okay.
You know, I just finished doing 9 years incarceration myself, wow. You know, from 2010 to 2019. Wow. And at the end of 2019, at my release, I walked into the pandemic early in March 2020.
Right.
You know, so during that short window period, I had a 9-to-5 job as a server here. So I lost my job in the pandemic, which at that point, at a low point in my life again, I decided to turn my life around and go into entrepreneurship via credit.
Mm-hmm.
So it started off fixing credit to now leading to me now having a credit tech company as well as a media company.
Nice.
You know, so I want, if you could share with everybody a little bit how Isaac yourself came, you know, experienced similar trials and tribulations in the past, and you become the man who you are right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll be honored to. So, I mean, for me, I'm Isaac Grace, the millennial hope dealer. I'm 29 years old. So, you know, my life was just like a lot of us watching this show right now. You know, I grew up with a household of 5 of us. My mother, my father was incarcerated my majority of my upbringing, but my mother, she married at a young age to my stepfather. And they tried to hit it off. They tried to hit the American dream. But unfortunately, through that upbringing, it just didn't work out. It didn't work out for them, you know, for many reasons. But the issue that happened is that through their separation, it kind of broke up the household. And that's when things really started changing for me. So my mother made a decision in 8th grade. I was probably 13 years old that she was going to relocate out of the state of New Jersey to go down to Atlanta, Georgia.
Which is obviously impactful for you guys, right?
Yeah, it's impactful because that's all we knew was Lakewood, New Jersey. That was where I was born and raised. I had all my friends. I played youth football. You know, I was a cool kid in school.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, this is all I knew. Right. And I was going into high school. So, you know, you build up
pivotal years of
the pivotal years of my life. So, when she told us that she was going down there, I just was real rebellious. And I told her, I negotiated with her. You know, I said, look, Mom, negotiation. Well, before I knew, so I said, look, Mom, like, I'm not really trying to go to Georgia because I don't know what's down there.
I ain't feeling that.
I'm not feeling that.
Yeah.
Nah. So I said, well, how about I go with my grandmother? And that was my father's mom. That was my father's mom.
So there was the separation, like you say, from you and your parents separating. So it was almost like you picking a side by going with your grandma.
Yeah. So it wasn't really picking a side. You know, my father wasn't around when we was young, but my grandmother filled his spot. So that was her son. So he was incarcerated. He's done like, you know, he did like a 7-year bid, then like an 8-year bid, all within like 20 years.
Ooh,
so that was a lot.
Significant time.
Yeah, he did a lot of time in prison, but his mother pretty much kept up his slack for us. So she would come get us on the weekend, school clothes, buy us what we needed. So that was my negotiation to my mom. I said, Mom, can I just go stay with my grandmother, which was a town south of Lakewood. It was called South Toms River.
Okay.
And I was able to negotiate that agreement. But
at a young age, mind you.
At a young age,
right?
Too.
Okay.
Like, I had my life figured out. Like, even back then, I wasn't even going to allow my mother to dictate my future, you know?
Damn.
So I just had my mind made up that Jersey is where I wanted to be. And long story short, I went with my grandmother, but the difference was that my grandmother was a little bit more militant. She was a Baptist Christian.
Right.
And she wasn't with the nonsense. So it was, you're going to be here, you're going to handle business, you're going to go to church on Sunday.
Right.
You in the house by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock the latest. And that just wasn't the life I was trying to live.
Right.
So me and my grandma, we bumped heads. Rest in peace, her soul. She passed away in 2013. But we bumped heads. I was with her for 2.5 years, my freshman, my sophomore, and a little bit of my junior year.
Right, okay.
And she kicked me out. I got in a fight in school. A kid called me the N-word, a Hispanic brother. He called me the N-word. And,
that triggered, boom.
That triggered. I'm sure we all been through that, watching that.
Right.
You feel like you got to go handle your business. And,
right.
My grandmother was just fed up with it. So she gave me the boot. But at the time, my father's brother, youngest brother, was also in my life, which is my uncle.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
They had different mothers, but the same father. So he knew how strict my grandmother was.
Right. This was evident off rip.
Yeah, so he already knew, like, I already know your grandmother. I already know, that she's a little strict. So you could come stay with me. And at this time, my uncle was 24, 25 years old, and he was in the streets. He was hustling. He was living the fast life, doing his thing.
Right.
So he had a crib. He said, look, Neff, you could come, chill here. You pretty much a young adult. You a middle-aged teenager. You 16 years old. I ain't got to babysit you. Just stay out of trouble.
Be a man.
Be a man and do good in school.
Right.
So I went with him, and it was good. And I stayed with him from junior year into the end of my junior year because he got a drug case. So he was going off to jail.
Right, okay.
So when I first moved with him, he ended up getting raided. And then, it normally takes time to back and forth to court, and then he finally got sentenced.
Obviously, okay.
So, yeah, he got sentenced at the end of my junior year. So he was like, Neff, look, I'm about to be gone. I got somewhere you could stay in Browns Mills, New Jersey. So that was like 45 minutes west of where I was from.
Okay, so now you have an opportunity to stay home.
I got an opportunity to either go to Browns Mills or figure it at this point, or go back to Georgia with my mom, or figure it out myself.
Okay.
So what you think I did?
Let me go ahead and figure it out.
I figured it out.
Right. Okay.
So during this time, I started boxing. So boxing was just something because I got kicked off the football team my junior year.
Right.
So boxing was something that I started playing around with, but I started loving the principles of it, and I started loving the idea of fighting.
So it's now. Let me ask you, because boxing has evolved now, which I'm not sure if you still follow boxing.
Absolutely, I do.
Okay, you see polarizing individuals like Gervonta.
Yes.
And the rise of MMA and everything like that, right? So we know how the power of branding and promoting yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I stopped you there is because I wanted to ask this very important question. As you know, we surround the show around these 4 questions. And number one, so your experience so far, was that the elements that help you plan your blueprint?
Yes, absolutely.
You getting into boxing, and then that gave you that entrepreneurial spirit. If you could share that with the audience here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think boxing was the bridge that God laid out for me from the transition to being a product of my environment to transitioning into a successful entrepreneur.
Beautiful.
So boxing's a grueling sport. Like, you watch it for...
But it's mental.
It's mental.
Right.
It's a grueling sport on the physical and the mental. But what boxing taught me was discipline. I think that was the biggest thing, commitment, and showing up for yourself, because at the end of the day, your trainers, your fans, your mom, your dad, they can't save you in that ring. Only you know if
mano
you put
a
that
mano.
work in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know if you put that work in.
Right.
You know if you gave your all in your training camp. So them principles that I learned at a young age through boxing was able to carry on once I got into entrepreneurship.
Which, let's touch on now, you're into entrepreneurship, right? So, which we glided over this initially. I feel like we're doing a reintroduction, but Isaac Grace, the real estate investor.
Yes, sir.
Right? Closed over 250 deals and grossed over $5 million in revenue. And most people don't know this as a high school dropout, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So so first of all, okay, how were you able to close over 250 deals by not having no formal education on real estate? Talk to me, bro.
That's a really good question.
There's a lot of the viewers are wondering, like, wait a minute. He closed how many? He's how old?
Yeah.
And he didn't have no education, ears are tuning in right now, brother.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, do I have your permission? I want to share
Go
a verse
ahead.
from the Bible, right? Because, I've been on my spiritual journey. I don't really follow any particular religions, and I'm not here to preach to you guys, but I'm here to motivate you through the book of life, right? So, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10, it says, "Fear thy not, for I am with thee, but not dismay, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yeah, I will help thee. Yeah, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness." Right? So God has already kind of got life planned out for us. Right? So
Pre-planned.
Right. So if you speak about how did I do this as a high school dropout, nobody in my family did real estate, no form of education in these type of things. You got to understand that God is with us and he will strengthen us to be able to walk into any path that he has set forth for us. So when I got started, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was scared as hell. Wes,
So
I
what was your
scared.
inspiration though? Like, I mean, you're talking about polar opposites: boxing, entrepreneurship to real estate.
I think the fear, the fear of the unknown. Like once I started studying the craft, it was like, okay, I got to learn how to talk to people. I got to learn how to clean myself up.
Oh, it's in a building.
I got to learn how to use computers. And even at this time, you would think, bro, you a millennial, you should know computers, but like, I probably had barely ever touched computers really at this time.
Right, because you're more of a blue collar guy with sports and boxing and everything.
Yeah,
right?
No school, no college, none of that. So I wasn't really messing around with computers. So it was all them fears that I just kind of bottled up when I finally took a deep breath and said, you know what, this real estate thing, I'm learning a little bit about it, but this is what I want to do. But like you said, I didn't know what I'm reading to you guys back then. But when I look back and reflect on that, God was with me. He was going to strengthen me to be able to learn whatever I felt or whatever I needed in order to be on the path to. We're at 300 transactions now. I think when I wrote this bio, we're at over 300 plus transactions in the business.
And this is all self-taught here.
This is all self-taught. Like I was telling you before we jumped on, I told you that, my first mentor was Jay Morrison.
Which is the GOAT in the industry,
Yeah,
right?
yes. So when I met Jay Morrison virtually, I was really inspired for his message for, black and brown people, minorities, Latinos, Indians, African-Americans, so-called African-Americans. But he spoke highly of us. He said, look, it was the first time that I had heard someone that spoke positive about us. Like where I come from, is a lot of us there, but it's dominated by, the Caucasian.
Because we're left
empire.
out of this space where it comes to real estate for a large part.
Yeah.
If you could say, right? Because of redlining
Yeah.
and the false narrative. It takes so much money and obstacles to get into it.
Yeah.
But obviously you've broken down a lot of those barriers and things like that.
Yeah.
Right?
So when I heard him speaking, that's what made me continue to watch him and say, like, what does this guy really have to offer? I think the other thing that was cool was he was from New Jersey.
Oh, so that was a connection.
That was the connection. I'm like, yo, he could do it. And then his message was like 3-time felon turned real estate mogul. Made $1 million by 30. I'm like, yo, ain't he from Jersey? Like, I should be able to do that.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. So I was watching some YouTube videos, and the first gem that I learned from him was about building business credit. So I got a secure credit card. I went to my Wells Fargo bank, gave them $300. I got a secure credit card. So for the viewers that don't know, a secure credit card is when you go to the bank and you give them your money.
Right.
And then they give you back a credit card. So what you're trying to show the bank is that you can be responsible with credit.
Right.
So once I had the secure credit card with a $300 limit, the next step was to keep it under a 30% utilization.
So you knew this already from your mentorship with Jay.
Yes,
Okay.
my virtual mentor. He wasn't even my mentor. He was just giving game out on YouTube for
Pure
free.
value.
I didn't even know him at the time, but I was just watching the videos, and I'm like, yo, you know what? If I'm gonna do real estate, I got to get my credit right.
You know what, guys? Because I want you to keep going. I want you to keep going because you've touched on the third point of the show, which is how was you able to fund your blueprint?
Yeah.
So obviously, and as I just shared with you, I started off with credit repair and funding my blueprint. Obviously, you tapped into business credit. So keep going on. Obviously, viewers, I want the viewers to really understand and listen to this segment as, again, this is the third question as how did you fund your blueprint?
Yeah.
You sharing with everybody
And it's some
now.
other
Go
ways
ahead.
we funded it too, some other creative ways outside of that. But that was step 2. Keep the credit card utilization under 30%.
Right,
So all I did was get gas with the card. I probably got gas 2 or 3 times.
Just the day-to-day necessities.
Just the basics,
Right.
I started making the minimum payments each month, and I think maybe after like the 4th or 5th month, I got an email from Wells Fargo, and they said, "Look, you ready for unsecured credit card for $500?
Graduation time.
Graduation time."
Right. Okay.
And boom, that was the turning point for me as an entrepreneur, because I said, "Damn, if I could take information that I'm seeing on YouTube, apply it
to life,
and it becomes a reality, this is a success hack right here. This is literally a success hack. Like, simple as that." And and that's been my blueprint to success now. Obtaining information, applying it, and then reaping the benefits of them actions.
You know, which that's very inspirational, because in the aspect of, I was able to do so and build a media company. You're in the cups of building a real estate empire, right? Yep. And my question for you is, how, now you dropped out of high school. Mm-hmm. How was you I know you mentioned about your mentorship with Jay, but you seem so far to have a real profound sense of financial literacy and credit literacy.
Yes.
Was that just the seed, or you already had a sense of, okay, keep the utilization down. Okay, let me go ahead and make my payments on time. You know, these are impactful things to my score to eventually graduate and leverage now that money to be able to go ahead and get my first deal and roll that over to my next deal, and so on and so forth.
So to be honest, no, I did not know why I was doing what I was doing at the time.
Whoa, hold on, man. Stop. Come on, man. Isaac, don't do that to the people. Are you telling me you did not know?
Nah, I didn't. Like I said, again, like, and we'll probably hit on this, is that, like, my secret to success is not having it all figured out, just doing what's in front of you.
Just doing it.
Yeah.
I love that.
I never did the credit card play so much to think that hard money lenders is going to be looking at my credit, or conventional lenders were going to be looking at my credit, or in order to get business funding, I would need a certain credit score. I wasn't doing it because of that. I was just doing it because the information was right there in front of me. And I said, you know what? I got no credit. This video was telling me that if I do this play, I can get some established credit.
Right. Okay.
So most people wouldn't take that action because they want to figure out, well, what do I need to do to get a loan for real estate? Or they're looking at step S or T, and I'm just trying to get to step B.
That's the right approach, because again, step A was consuming the information.
Yeah. Step A is consuming it.
You know, so would you say, because you really highlighted a good point as far as funding your blueprint, you know, what's the strategy on how you actually built everything? Was it purely on, watching the YouTube videos and then following the course of slowly with the finances with your credit card, the first transaction and everything like that? Because most people are unaware. You have a whole mentorship program.
Yeah.
You've educated, if I'm not mistaken, nearly 300 students.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So, you're not no rookie around the block. Although you look young and fresh, clean cut and everything like that, you know what you're doing here,
yes,
right?
I do.
So if you could, what was the actual strategy in building out your entire, if I'm $1 Million Hope, right?
Yep.
$1 Million Hope. What was the strategy in building up from then to now, the 300 mentees in your program?
Yeah, so before I ever mentored anyone, I started applying this information myself. I think that was the first thing. It was like going out here and
you being the testimony.
Me being the testimony first to test this information I was learning. So when I got in real estate in 2014, I did my first deal. It took me 6 months. The first 4 months was
That's not bad, though.
Yeah, it's not bad. I would have did it sooner, to be honest, but the first 4 months I was just in my head.
You in your own way.
In my own way, the first 4 months. And
Okay.
I got to the point where I would go to the library every day because I didn't have no office or nothing like this. So I would go to the library to just get in a new environment, and I would study these training courses. I would take notes. I would highlight things. I would visualize myself doing the strategies to go out there to
grind it.
Yeah, I was grinding, man, because prior to that, we didn't hit on it on the show, but I got in that drug raid in my 12th grade year.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah, go ahead. We keep mentioning that.
So when I dropped out of high school my senior year,
right.
and the biggest reason was because I got involved in a drug raid. So when I left my uncle, because he was going to jail, I ended up staying with a friend of mine. And a friend of mine, he was already hustling. He was probably like 19. I was 17. So he was already out of high school.
Okay.
So that was his life. So he let me come stay with him. I was paying him $300 a month in rent my senior year of high school. But they was trapping. Like, that's what they was doing all day long. So I'm coming home from school. They smoking weed. They doing all this stuff. So this is my influence. So
you're getting caught up in the whole environment.
I'm getting caught up in it. You know, I always had a promise to myself that I'd never sell drugs because I seen what it had did to my uncle and to my father.
Right.
But, you know, unfortunately, like you said, when your back is against the wall and, you know, you just trying to be able to pay your bills or just feed yourself, you know, you just fall. I fell a victim to my environment.
Right.
So December 22nd of 2011, I was waking up to go to school right before Christmas break.
Right.
And, you know, they came.
Boom.
They snatched us up.
This is after seeing what your uncle went through.
No, yes, yes,
So
exactly.
Your uncle got raided, so now this is your friend.
My uncle was already in jail, so I had just left him, and this is probably, I mean, he went to jail in June of 2011. So as soon as I was graduating my junior year of high school, so this is the start of my senior year now, December of my senior. So this is 6 months later. So
back to back, like
he done went to jail, and then now I was in a situation where I could have went to jail too.
So it's very. Wow, it's very important to highlight how your life could have easily went another direction.
Yeah.
Just that close from a decision, right?
Yeah.
Like that, right?
Right.
Wow. So now, obviously, you escaped the. So let me add, but you have to wait a minute, Isaac. Though I applaud you in your in your journey and everything like that, I don't like what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back and I'm going to challenge you, bro. I don't like what you're doing, bro, because I talk about this all the time. The power of information is a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
A gift because, you know, you was able to build, again, consume the information, apply it to life. Boom.
Yeah.
But how many people subscribe to that same pill and it just, it didn't work out. You know what? Forget about it. Yeah. I took this YouTube course. Nah, I didn't make the $1 million. Forget it. I made $2 last week.
Right.
You know, so, you know, right. We get a lot of that, right? Which I call these microwave babies, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to really share with everybody. So how you've gotten out of trouble, right? And you transition and grind and put all of your energy into real estate, bro.
Yeah.
You know, so why real estate though? Why that? Because real estate is normally thought as a long-term game.
Yeah. So the reason why real estate, man, is because I was thinking long-term.
Seriously?
Yeah.
At a young age?
At a young age, I was always thinking long-term. Always wanted to be able to leave something behind for my family. I really didn't know how I would do it, but when real estate, it was an opportunity that God put in front of me. It wasn't something that was pre-planned. I had never heard about real estate until I had heard about it. And I heard about it through a little bit through my father. So my father had came home when I was about 19, turning 20.
Okay.
And he was going to some a real estate shop. So he was incarcerated, you know, probably hearing about real estate.
Right.
So he planted the bug, the seed into me. And then you know how the YouTube algorithms work. Once you start talking about something, it just starts coming.
Just starts coming at that point.
So it turned. Then I seen a clip, 3-time felon turned real estate mogul, and that's when I ran into Jay Morrison.
So this really the inspiring moment that just say boom, real estate all in.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. You know, Jay and I, we're not in relationship, we're not in partnerships anymore. But I'll give kudos where all kudos need to be, respect, because that's what inspired me to say that I could do this real estate thing, Yeah,
because and the reason why it's mostly for our people, I think we talked about this, how we really look up to entertainers, athletes, and everything. You're a former athlete yourself, a boxer and everything. And you said you even play football a little bit, right?
Yeah, I play a little bit of football, but I ain't go far with it. I ain't go far with it.
But it's obviously it's easy to say athletics could have easily been your gate, that lane you went to. Yeah. Especially again, and I want everybody to understand that, especially now with the rise of platforms like EYL and $1 million worth of game, where it shows how the power of information can lead you to entrepreneurship. For our people, we don't have to go into being an entertainer. We don't have to be an athlete. We actually can tap into entrepreneurship and everything. And, you've really highlighted that. So I wanted to go ahead and transition into now the last question here, which is, how were you able to promote your blueprint?
So I was able to promote my blueprint through social media. Just so my whole theory on just getting my brand out there is just showing the world what I'm doing. You know, so anytime that I'm, you know, I always got my lady with me. She always got the camera.
Yeah.
So we
okay.
always just showing the world what we doing, whether it's informational or just inspirational. You know, we're always just trying to use my story so I can be driving and something may come up. Like it could be anything, mindset. It could be a strategy. And I'll tell you, turn the camera on. I could be driving.
Just like that.
Turn the
Boom,
camera on.
let's go.
I got to get this off me. Because what I've learned is that, you know, God will plant seeds into us that we have to harvest to the world. So if we hone in and harness on all of our information, we're doing a disjustice to our brothers and our sisters. So I'm all about putting the information out there, because when I do that, I get so many people that direct message me or hit me up. Yo, I've been dealing with that this last week or this last month, and you just affirmed.
Boom.
And when you get something like that, you just know
gratifying.
that's gratifying. Like, you know what? I got to keep on sharing my story, because when I started sharing my story about being a high school dropout, you know, selling drugs and transition to entrepreneurship, so many people gravitated to that. And some of them same people are successful entrepreneurs now.
Right. If you think about it, a lot of our current day influencers and like the Jay-Z's and you know, who had a life of crime and drugs that end up turning it around to now being, you know, leaders and leading our community as far as, hey, you could go from coming out of the streets to now becoming a multi-billionaire, a millionaire, right? Yeah. So, and which, by the way, you know, I see you're a family man. You brought your lady here.
Yes.
Expected child?
Yes, twins, 2 girls.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. First.
No, I have 2 other girls, so I'm about to have 4 girls.
Oh wow. Yeah, you need to be in real estate.
Yeah.
He needs to be in real estate.
Yeah. And I would say that another component that I completely miss is that, like, all in that time of getting in real estate, I had my first daughter. When I was I was having her when I was 19, but she came into the earth when I was 20. And I started real estate when I was 20. So that was another component on why I said that I have to hold on to this idea, because the 9-to-5 thing wasn't working for me.
Period.
It wasn't working. And I said, you know what? I don't care if real estate takes me 5 years to master. You know, I got a daughter that's less than a year old. And by the time she's 5, if I got this figured out, I got life set up for us forever.
Period.
So I sacrificed them 5 years. Like, you look at a lot of people now, man, and they'll be a lot ahead of me in real estate. And they probably started in the late 2020, 2019, 2018. Like, when I tell people how long ago I started and you look at my results, some people may congratulate it, but some people may say, yo, you should have done a lot more with the time that you've been in the business. But I feel
what's
like
your reply to them?
Everybody got their own journey.
That's true.
You know, everybody has their own journey. I think a lot of mine in the beginning was, you know, it was God showing me more than just the money side of it, the responsibilities. Right. So I embrace how long it's really taken me to go from a real estate entrepreneur in 2014 to making my first $1 million in real estate in 2021, made my first $250,000 in 2018. You know, some people did it in the first year, in the first 2 years, you know, but their success is never going to be my failure.
Are you looking to take your podcast or media production to the next level? Well, look no further than Blueprint Media's state-of-the-art podcast studio and media production services. With our expert producers on hand, meets great production.
Obviously, like as you can see, God has a calling and a journey for everybody and a blueprint for everybody.
He does.
You know, and well, if you could lay now, when it comes to your real estate strategy, did you start off more into like wholesaling and fix and flips, or was it just, let me go into the multifamily and things like that? So what was your initial strategy and what's your current strategy now? Are you into still that same initial strategy now?
Yeah, let's get going. This is the fun part
get
right here.
There we go. Yeah, because this is what the viewers want to hear.
Right,
now.
right. Yeah, we shared the story with them, but it's enough with that. Let's get to the game. Because this is what I do in my sleep. So I'm a residential real estate investor. So residential real estate is anything 4 units and under.
4 and under.
4 and under.
Okay.
Yep. So I focused there. Now, the strategy that I started off with was wholesaling real estate.
Which is like normally the easiest route, right?
Yes, it's certainly the easiest route, certainly for people like us that don't have this background, you don't have the credit, you don't have the money, but more importantly, you don't have the experience of entrepreneurship.
Right, okay.
Wholesaling real estate in the simplest form is being a middleman or woman between a seller and a buyer.
That's it. You're just the middle person.
The middle person.
Okay.
Now, the concept is to go out there and cultivate money relationships with investors. So let's just say that you looking to buy some real estate, you got a proof of funds maybe for $500K, and you got some lenders behind you, and you got experience in real estate.
Right.
I'm gonna come link with you, yo, Wes. I see what you're doing. I see you bought this property because I could pull data and find out what you're buying.
Right.
I come to you, I say, look, I want to help you make extra 6 figures this year. You know, can I add you to my buyers list? Can I help you reach your legacy? Well, what is your legacy? What are you trying to create?
Okay, just networking.
I network that relationship. You're going to say, look, Isaac, I'm looking for X amount more deals. I got this amount of money I want to spend this year, and here are my areas I want to buy in.
Boom, just like that.
I'm going to take that information. I'm going to go talk to a couple more people, cultivate a marketing plan off of that.
Okay.
So once I know that most people said these 1 to 3 zip codes in this county, I know to put all my money there when I see my efforts right there.
Okay.
Right? So I'm going to cultivate them relationships first, because I don't want to go out there and get a deal and I got no money, not experience, or no investors that are kind of giving me an angle to what I need to be looking for.
Right. Okay. You needed that support system to be able to launch the campaign as well, too, right?
I call it cash confidence. So
cash confidence.
Your $500K now is my $500K.
Ah,
so when I go out there and walk through that seller's door, y'all got $500K I'm ready to spend.
And you walk in and feeling
with
just like it, yeah.
Mind you, my suit probably $50 at the time, but I'm telling them I got $500K because I met you. And we built a solid relationship. You showed me projects. You showed me a proof of funds, so I know it's real.
Okay.
So it's other people's money in a sense. OPM, right?
Right, okay.
So I leverage that to go out there and start marketing now. So now, once I have some relationships on the investing side, I can go out there and start creating marketing campaigns to go out there and target motivated sellers, right?
Based upon that zip code that he gave you, pretty much.
Based upon them criterias, yes.
Right, okay.
So I'm going to focus in them areas, because most people getting started in business, they might only have $500 to $5,000 that they're willing to like easily invest in their business.
Right.
Not knowing if it's going to come back.
Especially if we're talking about our demographics here,
Our
right?
demographics,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Most people ain't trying to spend nothing.
At all.
and we got strategies for that too.
Okay.
We got strategies for that, but you know, most people that succeed are the ones that's willing to just put up a couple hundred, maybe
Right.
1,000 or 2.
You have to invest,
invest
something in yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to invest.
Right. So in the wholesaling business, you don't need a real estate license. You don't need no money for the deals. The money is
Really?
going towards the marketing and your business, your company, your software structures.
Which you should be doing anyway to whatever business you're in.
Business, right?
Right, okay.
So some people will say, well, it does cost money to get this and that, but I'm like, that has nothing to do with the actual
Right.
transaction
That's the
you're
false
dealing with.
assumption
It's
right
a false
there.
assumption.
Right.
So once you've got the money relationships, you're going to go out there and you're going to target distressed sellers. You can do it by driving areas looking for just ugly homes, or you can focus on pulling data. So data is just more, it comes on like Excel spreadsheets, but data is different types of criterias of homeowners. So it can be like an out-of-state owner. Maybe we find somebody here in Fort Lauderdale that has a distressed property, but maybe they live in Chicago somewhere.
Which is not uncommon.
It's not uncommon.
Right.
So we want to talk to them because we want to understand, is there a problem we can solve? Right?
Understood. Okay.
So in the wholesaling business, real estate is just a product. The business is marketing, sales, problem solving. So
wow, okay.
once I understood that in my business, it changed everything for me. I'm not chasing real estate. I'm not chasing houses. I'm looking for problems to solve. And how do I find them problems? I got to be a good marketer.
Wow, that's the key right there.
That's the game. That's literally the game right there.
So you're literally telling me, as well as the audience here, that almost anybody can get into real estate.
Anybody.
There's no excuses.
There's no excuses.
Whether you have $1,000 in your pocket or $10,000 in your pocket, poor credit, no credit, you know, young, old, anyone can get in.
Anyone can get in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so now with that being said, so Why do you think there's a lot of false assumptions out there about real estate then?
So the false assumptions about wholesaling real estate is that throughout the years, it has been, some states have tried to put stipulations in place where they're trying to eliminate this assignment of contract strategy, which is wholesaling real estate. So when people get a hold of that, they get scared. Real estate boards, the real estate commissions, and the real estate agents and the realtors also have put together campaigns to kind of
Going
frown
against,
upon this strategy
I see.
of
Okay.
investing, right? So when someone gets into business and they go talk with the realtor or they go do some research online and they see, oh, I can't wholesale in my city in Chicago because they said that's frowned upon.
Discouraged.
They get discouraged.
Right.
And people will look down on it. And a lot of the reasons why it's got to this point in the business is because people want microwave success.
Like we spoke about,
And
right?
they mess up the business. So they make it bad for people like myself who does the business legitimately.
Sort of give it a black eye, the whole industry, right?
Yeah.
You know, so okay. Now, let me, with that being said, all right, say I'm somebody right now, I want to get into real estate. All right. But I'm here in we're 2023, right?
Yep, 2023.
Let's be honest here. We're, if not officially announced, we're in some sort of a recession
Yes,
right now.
we are.
The prices of real estate has been dropping dramatically.
Yeah.
You know, now South Florida is a little bit of an anomaly as we're still a hot spot for a lot of in parts of Texas. But is now a good time to get in real estate? If you could share, is there ever been a worse time than now, or anything like what's your opinion on today's market?
So I feel like, yes, from a bird's eye view, home values are dropping, but that's not all the way true.
No.
So
is there? Are you telling me there's fake news out there again, man?
Listen, a lot of fake news is out there. I'm telling you.
Talk to me, man.
I'm in the state of New Jersey, and the state of New Jersey is thriving. There's
Seriously?
no price declines. Homes are still selling fast. Everything is still going forward, right? But remember what I said. We're not in the business of real estate. Real estate is just a product, right?
You're in the business of marketing.
Of people.
Right.
Think about this, right? No matter what the news say about real estate declining, depreciating, appreciating, staying plateaued, flat, right?
Right.
Are people dying every day that own homes?
Of course.
Right? Are people getting tired of homes that they own that are distressed and they probably just want to get rid of them?
Of course,
Right? Are there tired landlords during this COVID that, people was getting,
not paying rent or things like that?
Right. So it's always a marketplace for investors out here because it does not matter where the market goes. If a house is worth $400,000 in 2020, and even if your theory was right and it was worth $300,000 in 2023, who cares for us? Because if I go find John Doe, who was a tired landlord, 78 years old, who's about to go into retirement, coming down here to Florida or going to stay with the relative, he bought that house at $20,000, $40,000 in the early 90s.
Oh, so it's all profit. Yeah.
He'll sell me the house for $150. It need work. It's worth $300. I don't care about the $400,000 that was lost in the so-called depreciation. Which I'm just in the game of the numbers. So it doesn't matter where the market goes. We already know, and we teach our students how to go out there and get the deals at the right price points. But a lot of markets are not declining the way that the news is putting it out. Just recently, and I have the screenshot. It probably take me some time to find it in my phone, but I seen a post MG, the mortgage guy, put out recently. It was about March. It was an article from the news that the home prices have been going up this year.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
I mean, and I could believe that because there's hot pockets in the country.
Yep.
You can never, first of all, we all can definitely agree consensus-wise that you can't believe everything that comes out the news mouth, right?
That's
It's
true.
like, come on now. So, and we all see how there are hot pockets in the country where, it's thriving as far as real estate is concerned, Now, my question is, we also have noticed that, these big companies are laying off Facebook, 11,000 jobs, Amazon, these big retailers are laying off people. So, the writing is on the wall as far as, the economy the workforce is not the way it used to be. Inflation is up. rates are up and everything like that. So, you know, there's a lot of fear porn that's being put out there. But you're telling us that there's no better time than right now to jump into real estate.
There's no better timing now to jump in real estate, because here's the reason why. Number one, the world is, wherever you want to believe, one big ball of real estate or one flat land of real estate. Right? The world is that.
I like that. So whether you're a flatliner or whatever, right?
Or around, or you believe, right? So the world is real estate. So this building we in is real estate. The hospitals we go to, the educational facilities, where we hang out, where we go on vacation, it's all real estate. So the one thing we can all agree on is that real estate will never go nowhere. So no matter if it recorrect itself and home values drop or dip or whatever, or the currency changes, or we lose our power in currency, the world will always need somewhere to live.
That is true.
So,
no matter what.
No matter what. So for somebody that is watching this video right now, and maybe real estate is something that you want to get started in, right? Number one, there's many ways to make money in real estate. But there's
especially nowadays with Airbnb and everything like that.
So you just got to know how to position yourself on what you want to do. If you want to do Airbnb, if you want to hold rental properties, if you want to fix and flip, if you want to syndicate apartment buildings, if you want to wholesale, if you want to buy and hold, it does not really matter. You just got to figure out your niche and provide that service there, because whether you feel like real estate is declining or valuable or not, there's heavy hitters, corporations down to mom and pop shops that's playing real estate heavy. So even if you want nothing to do with real estate, you just got to learn how to be that middleman or woman. And you can make great money. Like I just made, in April, we just made maybe like, and it's our low month of the year, like 80,000 flipping homes, like wholesaling properties. In March, we made 250,000.
So wow. So let me ask, so with that being said, as we get ready to wrap up, what's the goal for $1 Million Hope? Is it to scale into another lane of real estate? Because you shared the different lanes now, and you share how there's no right or wrong lane. You could pick either one, fix or flip, syndication, or whatever the case may be. So you started off wholesaling. Is it now, or you want to branch into bigger projects or anything down the road or anything like that?
Yeah, so for the brand, it's the Millennial Hope Dealer.
Millennial,
no, I saw good. The Millennial Hope Dealer.
Right.
We'll discuss that. So, I mean, my job is to start playing a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Right? So my goal is to get into the apartment investing space.
Okay.
You know, I've tried to build a rental portfolio with residential properties, and it works, but you know, it's a lot more work versus just going out there and obtaining one roof with a couple hundred units and being able to build that cash flow. So that's the next level to my business.
Right.
A lot of my mentors, and even good friends of mine, been pushing me for years and years, like get to it. But again, I always, like we've been talking about, that God has a plan for all of us. So for me, I say, you know what? When it's on my heart, and I know that it's right, that's when I'll move on that. I'll move on it. But till then, you know, like you said, I've closed 300 transactions, made millions of dollars doing it.
Phenomenal.
You know, this year we've already over $600,000 in revenue. Phenomenal. Got some projects going on. We're on pace to do about 2.5 million, God willing, this year. So I feel
all in the Jersey area, by the way?
All in Jersey, yep.
Wow.
Yep, all in one small area. 2 counties is where I focus in New Jersey, Ocean and Monmouth County.
Okay. Do you plan on expanding down the road, or that's just right now? Okay.
So now, and that was another reason why I started my mentorship program, Creating Cash and Real Estate for Millennials, because I do want to expand. Right. You know, I do want to expand. I do want to help other students. Like, it took me 9 years to get here. I want my students to be where I am in 2 years.
You want to cut time.
I want to cut time. Yeah. You know, I want to cut their learning curve. Let my experience be their wisdom. So that's why I put the program together, so that I help my students build their companies, go out there, find deals. And I recommend that they wholesale their first couple, because I want them to get small wins. I want you to put $50K, $100K in your pockets real quick.
And feel it, right.
And feel it, you know. Yeah. Go celebrate, you know. Go do something nice for yourself. But after that, it's game time, because we long term. We building a legacy.
Right, okay.
You know, so then from there, I want to be able to help my students flip properties to maximize profit. Build rental portfolios, and then as I master this commercial side, we can all syndicate deals together.
Right, because now, you know, like you said, your experience will be their wisdom, and now there's a collaborative effort now, right? You know, to be able to go ahead and move forward collectively and achieve a goal. So I now, as we wrap up the show, I do want to go ahead and follow up one last question here, which is your movement, Millennial Hope, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you could share a little bit about that, before we wrap up, what's the journey?
Yes. So, since a young age, probably when I was about 19, in my neighborhood, there wasn't a lot of the older guys giving back to the community, the younger ones. And I had an opportunity back in 2012 and 2013 to coach youth football because the program was falling apart. They didn't really have money for equipment, and no one wanted to take the time out for the kids. And this was the same program I grew up through.
Okay.
So this was my first experience with like being a philanthropist. So I got to coach the youth kids, and I started seeing the problems that,
This is out of pure goodwill?
This is pure goodwill. I had a passion for football.
Right.
And also, my father wasn't in my life growing up, and I feel like if I had a male figure that taught me the principles of why I got to show up, why I got to take sports serious, why I got to work out, and all that stuff, I think I could have had a better shot at fulfilling my dreams as a professional athlete.
Right. I see what you're saying.
So I got into that. That was my first line of work, and we did everything. We did car washes to raise money. We used
Whatever.
we go canning. We was teaching the kids how to speak to adults to raise money. But outside of that, I got to grow close to a lot of these young boys, and just to be able to get into their parents and the struggles that they faced. I bought a van. I used to like pick the kids up. Wow. I did all I could do. But at this time, Wes, I wasn't an entrepreneur yet. So I hit a roadblock where I said, man, look, if I really want to save the world or do my part in trying to save a small portion of the world, I got to save myself first.
You got to.
So I stepped away from it like 3 years later, and that's my entrepreneurship journey was in 2014, and I've been running it up. And just right before I came to Florida, my daughter, I have 2 daughters, and I got 2 more coming. My youngest daughter, I got her in a track program.
Okay.
And come to find out, I connected with one of the rival coaches that we used to play against. So I was talking to him. I said, look, I was like, his name is Teddy. I'm like, look, Teddy, I just got back in Jersey because I was in Atlanta for 3 years.
Right.
And I moved back to Jersey, and he just said, look, man, whenever you're ready to coach, I know you was passionate about this. You got a spot here. So everything's coming back full circle for me. I called it in. I said, look, let me go out there, save myself. Let me create a business that's sustainable, and then I can get back to my philanthropist work. So we're going to get back into that stuff soon.
That's what's up.
So the Millennial Hope Dealer started from there, but I transpired that aggression into the entrepreneurial space. So when I got good at wholesaling real estate, I started helping other people. I got an opportunity to work under Jay Morrison just because of my talents. He's seen my talent and my skill sets.
Right.
Allowed me to mentor. So I got to mentor thousands of people under his brand.
Oh, just under his
his brand. I've spoken in front of thousands of people. And that's where I got the name the Millennial Hope Dealer because, the focus was, you're a millennial, focus in a millennial space.
Right.
And
that target audience.
Right.
There. Okay.
Right. So the seed of hope is where I got the hope from, like the seed of hope. So like when you plant a seed, you harvest it, you water it, you care for it.
Nurture it.
And over time it will grow into a tree.
Right.
So then just recently I was praying to God and I was like, I need to define my mission a little bit more clearer. Like I understand that I want to plant this seed of hope into people, but what is that process of planting that seed of hope? What does that look like?
Right.
And me and my lady, we was in Ohio recently, and we created the acronym for HOPE, helping others pursue excellence. Right?
Hope, helping others to pursue excellence.
No, two, helping others pursue excellence.
Helping. Oh, okay. Wow, yep. I like that.
We just grabbed that missionaire and we running with it now. So our goal is to help people pursue excellence, right? So I always tell my students, look, before you invest in me, you got to know that you want to do this. Like I can lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. So I want to help others pursue excellence. Excellence can be done in many forms: mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, emotionally. So we want everybody to chase excellence because God has a purpose for all of us on this earth. We all got a purpose, so you got to find it.
Which I feel like that's one of the greatest curses anybody could endure is, not tapping into your purpose
Yeah.
you know, that you've been born for, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people end up going through life without knowing or tapping in their true purpose in life.
Yeah.
You know, Isaac, before we wrap up the show, is there any final words and thoughts you want to share with the audience as far as, you know, anything you have upcoming, any inspirational words or anything like that you would like to share with the viewers out there?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I want to give you one more verse on purpose, right? Because some people may say, well, how do I find my purpose, right? So I want to read a scripture for you guys, Ecclesiasticus chapter 1, verse 26, right? It says, if thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, right? So what are the commandments, right? And we're not going to go deep into it, but just keeping God's ways of life. You know, we know the basic commandments: thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill.
Right.
You know, we should be praying 3 times a day. You know, keeping the Sabbath days, like different things of that nature. You can read and understand the commandments, different dietary laws, like, you know, no pork, basic things like that.
Right.
So it's so many laws that have been pretty much brainwashed to us that we don't understand. But it says, if thou desire wisdom, what's wisdom? Wisdom is the acceptance of God, the fear of God, you know? So if thou desire that, you must keep the commandments, and the Lord shall give her unto thee. So people will say, well, why am I not successful? Why do I not know my purpose? Why can't I find something that I can excel in and people can see value in what I'm doing?
Right.
It all starts with the belief in God, right? It's not religion. It's just facts. It's culture. That's the real culture.
Culture. That's
this
a strong
is the culture.
word. Yeah.
The Bible is for the Israelites, right? The Israelites are so-called African Americans, so-called Native Indians, and Latinos. Right?
Hold on, which I want you to finish your thought, but I do want to highlight as far as, because, you know, there's a great awakening now.
Yeah.
As far as what, you know, the true Israelites and the true right? And of course, I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going with this. You know, Kyrie and Kanye and they're
that's what inspired me. That's what started my journey.
I wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so again, God works through people. Everybody has a purpose, you know. So my first thing I seen what they did to Kyrie. You know, I'm in a tri-state. And there was a group of individuals marching around the Barclays. I also watched Drink Champs with Kanye.
Right.
So these two things came together, and then I ended up watching, because what Kyrie said, watch Hebrew to Negroes.
Right, the documentary that got him into this whole mess.
So when I watched the documentary, I realized I couldn't understand what it was talking about. You have to understand the history, and also the documentary brings a lot of Bible verses. So it's tying in the history of the original people that came from Abraham, which brought Isaac and brought Jacob, and then it starts to kind of depict that the so-called Negro is not the Egyptian, he's not an Indian, he's not any of these different people. He's actually his own nation of a person. But what different nations of people, different cultures have done is kind of brainwash
it, right?
This so-called Negro person so that you don't know your true heritage. So when I'm reading this Bible right here, when I read this one more time to everybody watching this is speaking directly to African Americans, so-called Native Americans, and Latinos, because those are God's chosen people.
Which do you believe there was a coordinated effort to attempt to silence Kyrie and Kanye and the vilifying attack that they've gotten and everything like that?
It's
Why?
certainly an agenda, because once the people know who this Bible is for and they understand, if you desire wisdom, keep the commandments. If you wake them up to understand to live this way, then things really start changing in life. And not in the control, because, right, the superpowers of the world now, which we're not going to shed no light on them, we know who the superpowers are.
Right.
God gave them that power because of our lack of.
And that's temporary. That's only have temporary, right?
And they understand this Bible, and they understand the truths in the Bible. So their job strategically is to keep us brainwashed. That's why the rap music is so popular. That's why they're pushing the sports. Why do you think now they're starting to give college students money now?
Name, image, likeness now, right?
Yeah,
right.
So they're doing anything to keep us down. Even the information age, it's a gift and a curse, because even for me, I struggle with trying to build this $1 million brand, but still dedicating time to this book, dedicating time to God. Because now when you ripping and running and you trying to chase this money.
You
You
caught
trying to
up in
produce
the earthly things.
You so
and,
caught up in this
yeah.
earthly thing. It's easy to say, man, I don't want to read that Bible. But it's all about balance. And I was speaking with one of my higher ups yesterday, and I was confessing to him that, like, lately I've really been struggling with this balance. I want to chase money. I want to chase my success, but my guilt at night always tells me that I didn't give my all today with my time with God. And
Especially now that this is being put in your face, right? It's one thing if you don't know, but now, like you said, what we've understood with Kyrie is like, as well as Kanye, it's like, no, it's out there now.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, just like how you seen, you know, like you said, you seen with the boys that, man, you seen the program is falling apart. Let me step in and go ahead and see if I can revitalize that.
Yeah.
Same thing here. It's like, okay, the information is here, Isaac. What are you gonna do?
Right. Many are called, few are chosen.
Chosen, right?
You know.
So, and I just want to say, because it is a touchy subject, because if they could, and I'm even putting our company on the line here, because, right, look what happened to Kyrie and Kanye, and these dudes have multi-millions of dollars, influence, power, and things like that. And if they can attempt to silence them, their platforms, right, you know, does that ever cross your mind that, man, maybe, you know, I may step on some toes by possibly espousing this philosophy and things like that?
No, it doesn't. I've thought about it, but I've come to terms that I got to understand that all things do work through God. Look what happened to Kanye. He got about that $1 billion deal, got control back to his thing, and he's rolling still.
Yeah,
So sometimes it'll be a storm, and a lot of us we're scared to jeopardize what we've worked so hard for.
Yeah.
You know, because
we never had nothing.
We never had nothing.
Right.
But for me, it's just like I'm out here to do God's work, and if I try to silence my voice or not allow God to speak through me, I'm doing disobedience to him. So while trying to not the oppressor to shadow down my brand where I make less money, what am I doing on the other side? So what
Can you sleep at night?
Can I sleep at night?
Yeah,
You know, because we're here for a short time. You know, we're on this earth for a short time. So I thought about that, but I'm at the point in my life where I have no fear. Like, I only fear God. You know, I only fear God in my life. But it's a balance, and I'm learning every single day. You know, I sin, but I always ask for forgiveness, and I'm working on getting better every single day. Beautiful. You know, and I'm doing God's work.
That's what's up, man. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I hope you guys was able to enjoy today's conversation with Isaac. Now, before we wrap up the show, I want to definitely encourage everybody to, you know, if you want to tap in with Isaac to learn more about, you know, the blueprint of real estate, you know, to learn more about the Millennial Hope Project, right? And to learn more about how he was able to overcome being a high school dropout, getting involved in drugs, and seeing his family getting in and out of trouble, you know, to now being a father, being a leader, mentor,
Beat
and
cancer.
now
We didn't even talk about that. Beat cancer.
Wow,
So much stuff,
man. Which, by the way, give us an elevator pitch about that.
Yeah, I'll give y'all a quick elevator pitch on that. So I beat cancer in 2019. I was diagnosed.
First of all, you're young.
Yeah.
You say you're 29 now.
I'm 29. So I beat cancer 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago. I was about 24, 25.
My goodness.
I was diagnosed, with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
And unpack that a little bit. Like, what's that?
So Hodgkin's lymphoma is when you have cancer in your lymphoids. I'm probably not saying it right, but it's like your lymphoids. You have them like in your neck, you have them in your armpits, you have them in your groins. And what they do is when you get sick, they will alarm your body by swelling up a little bit. You know? So anytime you got like a basic cold or whatever, it's the glands that will kind of fight off any sicknesses.
Right. Okay.
So what happened with me was I had cancer and it was in my neck, and like a bunch of them infused into one big one. So I would have like this big mass in my neck. And I look at old pictures and you can clearly see it. So I went to the doctors. They did a needle biopsy. It came back no cancer. So they said, we want to do an open biopsy. 1, it's more accurate, but 2, we can remove the lymphoids out of you so that you don't have this ugly appearance on yourself. Okay. So went back to the doctors, and during this time I had some mentorship with the mentor, and he was teaching me about being spiritual. So at this time, I'm praying to God, I'm praying to the universe, but I never really hearing nothing back.
Right.
having some success in business, saying these prayers is working, right? It's working, right?
It's answering another call, right?
Right. So I went back to the doctors January 27th of 2019 after they did the open biopsy. I had surgery earlier in January, and they told me you got cancer.
Damn.
And it was devastating for me because
Was it still early on, or was it hitting like the mid or late?
it was stage 1.
Stage 1, okay.
So I was super blessed. It was like the best of the worst case scenario. It was like a 3% death rate.
Okay.
But more importantly, when I stepped out that doctor's office and I got in my car, I cried like a baby, Wes. I cried like a baby, and it was a cry that I couldn't hold back. It
was building up.
It was just built up because I was just like, what's going on in my life? I'm this age. I just had my second daughter at this time, but the blessing in disguise was that God finally came to me at that time, and I wasn't even on this level yet, but God came to me and he said to me in a short summarized message that you're going to be all right and you're going to beat this cancer. I had this fantasy in my mind that he told me that I'm putting you through this to build you up for what's next in your life. And just recently, when I finally picked up this book and when I, was blessed through Kyrie and Kanye to connect me with the group that I've been working with, it's just been a full circle that I'm looking back on everything. And he started instilling them principles back in 2019 of that belief, that faith, and that I had to use my time valuable. I think that was the biggest thing.
Right?
Appreciate it,
Appreciate it, yeah.
So, so I beat cancer. I'm still here through the grace
Beautiful,
of God.
man.
I'm another testament of many of them. Everybody that's watching this, we go through things,
Of course, there's nobody in this world that's not going through something.
Yeah. So we just got to understand that we all got problems.
Right.
But you got to keep on grinding. You got to keep moving forward.
Which obviously, if there's anybody out there listening, again, we've had plenty of guests on the show, celebrities and influencers and entrepreneurs and everything, but I can really say your story can resonate with a lot of people because you are the true definition of there should be no excuses.
No excuses.
No excuses, right? From, again, no formal education to all the trials and tribulations you went through to also possibly losing your life, right? At a very, very young age, not even, you're not even at a prime yet, right? Yeah. So to be able to overcome that, to now see you, establishing a great empire as well as educating, have a beautiful family, and to expanding your family, God definitely has a purpose for you. You've tapped into that purpose,
yes.
And now it's just time for you to fulfill it and leave a legacy behind,
go.
right? Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for being here,
Thank
bro.
you, brother. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, listen, is there anything you want to leave the audience to look forward to? Is there any special offers, promos, or anything you have going on? Go ahead and share with the audience.
Yes, absolutely. So for anybody that's just curious to understand more about how you can jump into real estate and tap into this loophole of wholesaling real estate, I do weekly webinar trainings, free power classes every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. The website for that is The Real Estate Pack. Or to make it easier, you can text the word HOPE, HOPE, to 732-314-7978. So text the word HOPE to 732-314-7978. And can I leave them with one quote?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So the one quote that I live by, I got this from through boxing. Floyd Mayweather, he always says, tough times don't last, tough people do. So no matter what you going through in life, no matter what you feel like your Achilles heel is, no matter what your father didn't do, what your mother didn't do, what drugs you sold, what drugs you took, tough times don't last. Tough people will outlast any tough times, and I'm the perfect example of that right there. Go out there, find a vision, focus on that vision, and anything that's in blockage of that vision, you must push through it. It's no excuses. Like, we so many times, we leverage these excuses and we weigh on these excuses so much to not go out there and just be great. Get through them times, because on the other side of that storm is sunshine.
Absolutely.
Tough times don't last, tough people do.
That's what's up, man. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, definitely follow Isaac. His social media handles will be in the description and bio, which I'm pretty sure is all the Real Estate Pack, right?
Yep, therealestatepack.com.
Therealestatepack.com. Please check out the webinar again every Sunday, 7 p.m. I'm going to let you guys know I'm going to tap into Isaac's webinar. there's no better person as far as coming from zero to getting into real estate, especially if you're a novice at this. Highly encouraged it. He was able to share not only, how he was able to build his blueprint, but how he planned it, fund it, and promote it as usual, guys. And also, if you want to learn more on how to build your blueprint, definitely tap in with myself. Also, follow Isaac. Again, I know the text Hope. I didn't catch the phone number, but it will be in the show notes, guys. Again, if you want to tap in with Isaac and his community, as well as, guys, if you want to listen to this episode here, you could check it out on all streaming platforms, as well as all previous episodes. And as always, guys, we're going to catch you where? On the flip side. Peace, guys.
Respect my blueprint.
Shout out to our sponsor, Uptrend Credit, the #1 credit building platform out today. If you're looking to boost or build your credit, tap in with Uptrend Credit, as you will be able to build your credit by reporting your rent, utilities, and other monthly payments into your credit report. Uptrend Credit allows you to add trade lines with your monthly rent and utility payments and reports them on your credit in as little as 7 days. Check out Uptrend Credit and learn how you can build your credit today without taking on any debt.
Are you looking to take your where great content meets great production?